Hello and welcome into this week's ARCA Menard Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from R&N. On today's ARCA Rewind, we're looking back at Thursday night's Bounty 150, 100 laps, 150 miles around the mile-and-a-half Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. 4 cars went to the back at the beginning of this race, and then 2 started from the back because they didn't make qualifying times. Travis Braden and Christian Eckes both started on provisionals because they did not make qualifying laps. And then 4 cars to the back for unapproved adjustments, those being the 0 of Con Nicolopoulos, the 7 of Eric Cadell, the 18 of Riley Herbst, and the 77 of Joe Graff Jr. So, caution flags in this race. There was a lot of cautions in this race. There's a lot of stuff happening in this race when you take out the fact that there wasn't much of a battle for the lead for most of this race. First caution came very early. That came at lap number 4 when Morgan Baird stalled in turn 4 on the apron. Shortly thereafter, at lap number 9, Baird's teammate Jason Miles gets a flat left front tire, tears up the fender, throws debris everywhere. That caused the second caution of the night. Lap number 17, the 7 of Eric Cadell spun off of turn 4. He had a flat left rear tire. Lots of flat tires here early in this race, and that trend will continue as we get later into the race, as you will see. Then we had a long green flag run. We went almost 40 laps until lap 54 when Tanner Gray got into the wall in turns 1 and 2. He had a flat right front tire. That was the 4th caution of the night. 5th caution came on lap 64 when Christian Eckes spun in turn 2. He had a flat left rear. Again, we're seeing a pattern here. There's a lot of flat tires in this race. And then the final caution of the night came at lap number 76 as Joe Graff spun on the backstretch. The 6th and final caution of the night. Lap leaders on the night. Ty Majeski led the most laps with 72. Michael Self led 14. And Christian Eckes led 5 laps. Self led the first 14 laps from the pole when he relinquished the lead of Ty Majeski on lap 15. He held it through lap number 41 when we had pit stops, and Christian Eckes took the lead, through lap 55 through that caution for Tanner Gray. We had pit stops. Christian Eckes assumes the lead at lap 56. Eckes led for 4 laps before Harrison Burton takes over for 9 laps. Lap number 69, Ty Majeski retakes the lead for the next 12 laps. Eckes takes the lead once again for 1 lap on lap number 81, and then Ty Majeski reassumes the lead on lap 82 and held it for the rest of the race. Ty Majeski wins his 3rd race of the 2019 ARCA season in his 5th start. Fantastic season for Ty Majeski thus far in ARCA. He's only got 1 start scheduled left, and that'll be the season finale at Kansas. So we'll see if he can go 4 for 6 at Kansas. But he has been on fire this season in ARCA. If he's not winning, he's finishing 2nd and coming very close to winning. This year has definitely been a very important year in the career of Ty Majeski, when last year almost completely derailed Ty Majeski's career. We talked about that a little in the post-race interview, which is linked down below in the description. This has been a very important year for Ty Majeski. After a really crazy last few laps in the battle for 2nd, again, if you take Ty Majeski out of this race, we had a really good race. And I think Fox actually did a really good job of showing the racing back in the field, and they weren't paying too much attention to Majeski when he was out at like a 13-second lead. Because it was 13, 14 seconds he had on 2nd place when that Tanner Gray caution came out at lap 54. So Fox actually did a really good job. They obviously they would mention it and they would go back to Majeski at different points when he was running away with it, but they did a really good job of showing the battles back in the field, and we had a very good battle here from 2nd back to about 5th or 6th for the final 10 or 15 laps between all of these guys here. Harrison Burton came home in the second position. Brett Holmes ties his career best finish in third. Michael Self made a late charge. He'd gotten put back in the field and found his way back up to the fourth position. And Travis Braden picks up his first top five of the season. Second top five of the season for that 27 team. Rest of your top 10 was Riley Herbst, Christian Eckes, Austin Wayne Self in the 32 car for Wintron Racing this week. Thad Moffitt came home with a strong 9th place finish on the lead lap. And Scott Melton, kudos to Scott Melton and that Kimmel Racing 69 team. They brought a fast piece to Chicago. Was it a race-winning piece? No. But I think it surprised a lot of us how fast that car was and how fast Scott Melton was able to take it. I mean, a top 10 finish, 1 lap down. I would call that a very good finish for that team. They're continuing to make strides here. Scott Melton, I think, continues to improve as a driver. And we're seeing some pretty good runs out of that 69 car as we get deeper into the season. Final page 11 through 20th, 20 cars in this race this week. Joe Graff Jr. had just an awful day. Starts off with a wreck in practice. The steering wheel came loose in his hands and didn't even make it off of pit road. He wrecks on pit road when he really had no control over the car because the wheel came loose. So that wrecked the primary, which was a Chevy. They pull out the backup car, which is a Ford. I believe they made a couple laps at the end of practice. I'm not sure. I'm told they did. I never saw that they actually made those laps at the end of practice, but I'm told they made a couple laps at the end of practice. And then he made, I think it was 14 laps in qualifying, and that was the only laps they had on this backup car before they got into the race. And it was not a good night for them. Running near the back of the lead lap and a lap down most of the night, and finally came home 11th, 1 lap down. This is a weekend I think that 77 team and Joe Graff wants to forget and take the week off here, regroup, and come back strong at Elko. Tim Richmond comes home with a strong finish for that team in the 12th position. Tanner Gray, after his crash in the middle of the race, came home in the 15th position. Then Stephen Parsons, son of Phil Parsons, driving in 28th this week for KBR Development. They were out very early, out with brake issues at lap number 5. They came home shotgun on the field in the 20th position. So that's your results from the Bounty 150. As I said earlier, the post-race interview with Ty Majeski is linked down below in the description. Great chat we had with him as usual. He's always a fun one to talk to after these wins, so go check that out if you haven't already. And we'll move on to the point standings now. 12 races into the season. We got 8 races left in the 2019 ARCA season. We are getting quickly through this season, which is expected when you're in the middle of this summer stretch and you've got most of these races for the ARCA season compact into about a 2.5 month stretch. Michael Self still leads the points, 30 points over Brett Holmes currently. He sits 55 points up on third place. Travis Braden, no real movement here except down here at the bottom of the top 10, which that's been the real movement positions recently. We haven't really had any moves between our championship contenders position-wise in a few weeks here. But again, Braden in third, 55 points back. Christian Eckes lost a few points this week. He sits fourth, 80 points out of the lead. And then Joe Graff Jr., after his bad Thursday in Chicago, now sits 200 points back in the 5th position. So that 77 team continuing to lose points here. They've got to... It's still possible for them to get their way back into this, but they've really got to regroup here, clear their heads, and really try to make a charge here for these last 8 races, because it is still possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Joe Graff Jr. could get back into this championship hunt, but he is slipping further and further away every week, and that team's got to figure out something here to rebound and get back moving in the right direction in points. But that is your point standings following the Bounty 150 from Chicago, and I believe that'll do it for us today on this ARCA Rewind. Truck Rewind coming up later this evening after their race from Chicago. A couple rewinds coming up for you on Saturday. Xfinity from Chicago and Kane West from Roseburg. And, of course, a Cup rewind coming up on Sunday for their race from Chicago as well. So we got a few things coming up for you throughout the rest of the weekend. And then we got an off weekend next weekend for ARCA. The first off weekend we've had since, early May for ARCA. So it'd be nice to have a breather and not have to do so much traveling for a week, and then we'll be back the next week at Elko, Minnesota. So got a lot coming up for you that we will still have rewind shows next weekend for you. Don't worry, just because we won't be at the track doesn't mean we won't have videos for you going up next weekend. So we'll have you covered on everything from Daytona next weekend. So, that'll do it, I think, for this ARCA Rewind. So if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. While you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video? It is much appreciated when you do. But at that, this has been the ARCA Menard Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.